Hello YouTube, Sam here from youtube.com/onlivegamer for the new Boston, and in this tutorial we're going to be working more on the card program. Now if you don't understand what you see already on my screen, then you might want to go ahead and move back a couple of tutorials and start from the beginning of the card program tutorials. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, let's go ahead and add a constructor and another method that we can use inside of our card class. Now these are all essential because we're going to be using those in other classes that we make by using inheritance. So let's go ahead and just make a simple method that will, or a function that will tell if the car is moving. So we'll just comment this. So is the car moving, and we'll type public function is moving. It's not going to accept any arguments because we don't need any, and we will make it a Boolean type because the car is either moving or it's not moving. It's that simple. So now we're going to test the speed. So if speed, and we are accessing the property speed right here. So, and this uses what's called indirection, to where we're not actually accessing this variable directly, we're using this property. So if speed equals 0, and if that confuses you, the indirection concept, then I'll be talking about it later on, and you've already been using it a lot throughout your programs. So it'll be easy to understand once you grasp the concept because you've used it a lot. So if speed equals 0, then what do we want to do? We want to just simply return false. Now if speed is anything else other than 0, then we're going to go ahead and return true. Now they can also be moving at a negative speed. We're just going to allow that. Let's say they're going backwards. Now this technically isn't right because it's impossible to move at a negative speed. You always have to be going a certain speed in one direction or the other. But for this program, let's just allow them to go backwards by using a negative speed. So if it's anything other than 0, we'll just simply return true. Now let's go ahead and create a constructor so that whenever somebody creates a new car object, it's going to go ahead and set some of these values for them so that they don't have to do that. So we'll just go ahead and use the constructor. So sub new, go ahead and enter, and it'll add n sub for us. So let's just go ahead and set some of the default values for this. So we'll set the color, the speed, and the number of doors. So color equals, let's make it red. Speed is going to initially be equal to 0, or here, int speed, it's going to be equal to 0, and then int number of doors, we'll just go ahead and set that equal to 5, and that's including the trunk. So you got 4 and then the trunk. So now that we've created our constructor, we can go ahead and head back into form1.vb, and you can see under the form1 load, we don't have to set the color to start with because it's already done that for us in the constructor. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and add some arguments for the constructor so that when they make a new car object, it will set it to the color, the speed, and the number of doors that they want. So let's come over here and we'll add a button, and we'll just call it accelerate. So we'll set the text to accelerate. We'll set the name to button accelerate, and now we'll go ahead and access the click event for that. So just like all of the other click events, we're going to be using an input box. So we'll just type default car, or not default back color. It keeps doing that for me because it's not selected. So default car dot accelerate, and for the arguments we're going to need an integer. So what we're going to do is we're just going to convert a string to that. Now the string that we're going to be use is the string that we get from the input box. So input box, please enter the speed in miles per hour to accelerate. So this tells them what to do. The title, we'll just set it to speed, and then we'll leave the rest as default. So the first argument of our conversion is going to be the string that we get from the input box. And now the second argument, we're going to convert that to type integer. So now we just need to make sure that all of our parentheses line up. So I've got one there, and we've got another one right here. So we're going to have to put, let's see, I think one right there. Or not, let's put one right there. Okay, so now that we've called accelerate, let's just go ahead and show the car info. So we'll just type default car dot toString. Now I know I'm going to get a lot of comments about this saying like, why did you override toString to do this when you could have created your own method that shows the attributes of the car? Well, the reason I did this is to get you some practice with the overrides, and because we're not going to be using toString anywhere else in our default car class. So if you call default car.toString, if we didn't override that, it would give us back something that isn't useful to us at all. So I just decided to override it to give us what we want, and it's only going to do that to the class car and anything that inherits it. So let's go ahead and come back here, and we will run the program and see what happens. So we'll go ahead and we'll set the name of the car to let's say Honda CRV. So we've got our CRV. The color is already automatically set, and let's go ahead and accelerate it by, let's say, 60 miles per hour, and we'll click OK. Now if we show the if we show the speed, not the info, we get the car name, the car color, the number of doors, and the car speed. Now we can keep accelerating. Let's accelerate by another 5 miles per hour. You can see that it gives us 65 miles per hour. Okay, so before this tutorial is over, I want to give you guys a challenge. Now, when I give you guys challenges, I feel it'll really help you learn Visual Basic on your own if you do the challenges instead of just moving on to the next tutorial. So what I want you to do is whenever the person clicks set color and it shows an input box, I want you to set the default response as the color that's already there. So let's see you got the default response as string is set to nothing. Well, I want that to be set to the color that the car is already set to. So if you figure out how to do that, feel free to leave a short video reply. That would be the best, but you could also just leave a comment and tell me how you figured it out. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next tutorial.